Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and a link in the info box below this video once it is rendered. If you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. I'm going to transition straight across to the Hangout as we do have Sleeping Warrior waiting in the wings. Let's just say a quick hello to Sleeping Warrior. How are you doing? Good to have you here.
Yo, I'm good. I'm looking forward to correcting some fundamental, catastrophic, and massive misunderstandings of people that claim to be ball earthers. They're either stupid, fools, or just liars. All of them. So I'm going to correct that straight away because Baz, the soccer account, whoever you really are, I don't know what on earth what drugs you're on, dude, but you're going to be getting a few corrections. Going to be a few shout outs to a couple of good videos that are up at the minute. And I guess we'll be going back over this 35 feet elevation thing because Miles Davis has got some explaining to do. So, and I've got about an hour and 20 minutes today. I've got to go and do a bit of work afterwards. So let's get this show on the road.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, basically yesterday we got to see an observation made, admittedly published about a week ago by Al Kay and Miles Davis, and they've shown themselves measuring a particular part of St. Bees coastline from the beach, and by our crude estimations, it's about 20-25 feet at the most that they're measuring. So, Google measures it at 29 feet, and the globe heads measure it at about 24 feet, I've estimated. I've given them a bit more leeway. They've come back and said, oh, well, the camera's tilted back, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is, there is no 100-foot discrepancy here. 30 metres is what Google says it is, plus or minus at that location. Now, no, they haven't gone and measured the observation position, but they have gone and measured a position within a couple of 100 yards of the viewer position. And that seems to suggest that Google is not wildly inaccurate, as claimed by the globeheads. That's the bottom line here. We had to see something showing a discrepancy, and there doesn't seem to be any discrepancy. It seems about right. Yes, it may not be exact. It might be out by a few feet. It might even be out by 10 feet for all we know. However, it's definitely not 100 feet out, which is what these guys want. Need, well, I say need, even if they were 100 feet on top of the observation position, it wouldn't be bringing back Morgold Lighthouse. You can't see it, it's not there, geometric impossibility to see on a sphere, so all that kind of stuff doesn't really make any difference. But the bottom line is, they've measured a part of the coast, and that particular part of the coast seems to tally up quite nicely with what Google seemed to quote, i.e. 29 feet where they measured. Now, from my understanding, they've continued their way up the hill, and therefore they have not measured any other locations from the shore. They've only measured one and then worked their way up the hill. Now, if we're to trust Miles the Liar Davis in terms of his extrapolations, then fine, you can feel free to do so. Me, I'm just interested in the only measurement that was made from the shoreline of a particular location, which does have a quoted height on Google of 29 feet, and it seems to be about correct. So the extrapolations thereafter on the rest of the video I'm not particularly interested in. Got to be honest, I had the same attitude when Anthony measured the side of the cliff with the tape measure. He started to give me his angle and extrapolating out the hypotenuse, and I wasn't interested. All I was interested in was the measurement on the tape measure. That was what I was interested in. What was at the top and what was at the bottom, based on that you can extrapolate out whatever you like, and in the same instance I'm only interested in the actual measurement from the shore at any location at St. Bees, so we can gauge whether or not it has a 30 metre inaccuracy. Obviously going up, if you're a glober it's got to be 30 metres higher, but there doesn't seem to be one. So this is the location, this is where it's called steps, but there's kind of a bit missing at the bottom if you ever were to use them as steps, but those particular quoted steps were measured, and like I say, when you look at the pole going up, it's, if you want to call it 20 feet, 22 feet, 23 feet, fine, Google quotes it at 29, so we're not seeing any wild inaccuracies, lads. Your lies and deception and smear in terms of Anthony's elevation height, which it's not, it's Google's quoted elevation height, is nonsense. Total nonsense, and there is absolutely nothing to back up any discrepancy. None.
Yeah, essentially Miles the liar Davis, yesterday, he has, to be fair, he has graciously given Ranty an apology. He hasn't done it on this channel, which is where I feel it should be done, because this is where the slur was made. However, he has done an apology. He has made a video an apology, and Ranty has accepted it. And credit for that should be given, and duly is noted as given. However, there's been a bit of a red herring, or a what's the word I'm looking for? Straw man, because Miles made a video that was not really related to the St. Bees observation. It was on a bit of a tangent. Miles stood. I mean, my video was done at this point, the 35 point. Miles was stood on this part here. Now you can see that in this image that there's a path that goes all the way down. The bottom bit, the path at the bottom doesn't exist anymore. It's eroded away. So this bit doesn't actually exist. So it's a little bit out. But in any event, Miles stood here and he did an observation. And you can see the observation in this video from Miles that says Flat Earth, Earth-shaped tourists, UK, St. Bees, episode 1. Now, he was talking a lot of mumbo jumbo about the turbines and how the turbines completely support the spherical or the oblate spheroid that we live on, yet completely forgetting to account for the fact that they are distorted to hell because of the effects of refraction. They are stretched, they are disproportionately big, but he somehow concluded that this was the effect of curvature. And when you look at the images in question, and indeed I was challenged on why I didn't produce these, and the answer is because whatever these are, this is not consistent with the sphericity of the Earth. These things are distorted to hell and back in terms of the size. I mean, look at the size of this one. This one has got the hub on it that's the same as this hub, but that one's like 5 times more depth to it. So we're seeing the effects of this mirroring, or whatever, this dirtier, or whatever it is, this refraction. This is refraction. I mean, if refraction really was this thing of bending light around the Earth, why is the light not being bent around the Earth here? Why is it being distorted to hell and back with regards to what we see? It seems that the closer it gets to the horizon, it seems that the thing gets stretched to boogery. And that's what it appears to be. Yet somehow Miles has concluded that this is the curvature of the Earth. so I mean, I found it hilarious, but the point was he was looking at these turbines and he's given himself the distance to, I mean, I'm not bothered about the distance, but he's given himself the viewer height in meters at 14 feet. Now, viewer height in meters. So if we do 14 meters in feet, this gives us nearest, hang on, I've done that wrong. Yeah, 14 meters, 45 feet. Now, let me just make sure that I'm quoted him accurately, because I'm sure he did it at 12. Yeah, that I think he gave himself at 12 there. I'm not sure. I think he put on an extra 2 feet for his pole, for his tripod. So he's given himself 12 meters, which is, Naira's damn it, 40 feet. For easy maths, we'll go with 40 feet. I am rounding him out a little bit, but it doesn't make that much difference to the point in hand. So Miles is putting himself at 40 feet. Now, Ranty watched this video, and Ranty said to me, do you think that's 40 feet from there? And I said, not a chance in hell. Not a cat in hell's chance. And he said, right, well, we'll measure it. So me and Ranty went back and measured this, and we got this observation height to 29. Now, at the time, I didn't know that the value on Google Earth also happened to be 29. Now, but the point was, Miles made a comment in the chat yesterday that said words to the effect of the observation height is critical to calculations. And then in the next breath, like a few minutes later, I asked him, well, where did you get the value of 40 feet from on this video? And his response was it was an estimate. Well, how accurate is an estimate? And the reality is the estimate is 11 feet higher than what it actually is, that we measured it, because Miles had the tide in at the time. The tide was in. So we measured 29 feet down to the pebbles. Like that, it wasn't down to the promenade, it was down to the pebbles. So when we measured this 29 feet, we knew that Miles was lying. We didn't make a big deal out of it. We just knew that he was lying. So we left it at that, because principally I'm more interested in what's going on up here. But we knew that Miles was a liar because he'd claimed 40 feet and the water was literally here. So we've measured this at 29, and it happens to be the case that Google Earth says 29 as well at the same place. So although Google Earth says it's to mean sea level, I think that Google is actually measured to the high sea tide level. I don't think it's the mean sea, because this 29 feet does take you to where the water was. So we knew that Miles was a liar at that point. I didn't make a big deal about it because I was more interested in how things were going with regards to this observation. But Miles makes the point that the observer height is critical, yet he's given himself a 12-meter observation point from this point, and it's simply nonsense. So if we do a little bit of quick maths to see what he's given, it was actually 29 feet. Divide that by the 40 feet he put himself at. So there's like 72, 82, 92. So it's nearly 30% difference. 27.5% difference. And what he's doing there by doing that is like, it's tantamount to just dishonesty, because it's hugely out. So this is, I mean, I'm not really sure where this you're gonna have to fill in the gaps here, Nate, because I'm not sure what this kilometer thing to meters thing was about, this conversion thing. But I'm curious to know what the big fuss about it is, because I didn't spot anything that was fundamentally wrong myself. But yeah, this 29 feet observation point is accurate. It's to the foot accurate. It's based on the high sea level, but it's not based on mean sea level, which Google Earth claims to be. But then we were able to calculate this 35 feet thing. Now, Baz, the sock account that he is now telling people that I've changed my position, and I haven't. What I actually said, and I'll repeat my words again, and I'll stand by my words, and they will not change, and they're never going to change, because I stand by them and I reassert them over and over and over again. When Nathan sent me a tape, and the tape measured at a maximum of 66 feet. When it was thrown over the hill, got down to the bottom, there was still tape left over. Okay, I even drew it out in paint. I drew the triangle, and I drew the little bit of leftover tape. I didn't tell anybody what the measurement was, because, like Nathan says, it isn't my assertion to prove. It's your assertion to prove, because you guys think that it's plus or minus 30 meters. Well, we were testing to see whether there was any evidence of that, and we found that there was no evidence of it. And depending on how accurate you are with your angle observation or your angle measurement, it governs how many feet you calculate your observation at. So the only one fact that we know is that when you chuck a tape off, throw it down, get to the beach, and then that value is black and white. The variable is how you calculate the angle, or how you measure the angle. And depending on how you do it, you're going to get plus or minus a degree of human error, which will be probably 5%, I would guess. And that puts you back smack bang in between two values, both of which are completely acceptable based on what Google Earth tells us. The height is accurate. Okay, there is no evidence to support this nonsense of plus or minus 30 meters. But if that was the case, that there was evidence of it, we could equally argue that, well, it can go both ways then. Why would you add 30 meters to my elevation? We could just as easily take 30 meters off and put it down onto the beach. Fundamentally, that would be a lie, fake, wrong. But if you guys are adding 30 meters to it to pick my elevation up high enough so that it can account for it on the severity of the Earth nonsense calculator, then it's equally as arguable that we can bring it back down again, because you guys are plucking figures out of the air. So just because Google puts a disclaimer doesn't make it that it is. In places where there's a Himalayan mountains, for example, Mount Everest, yeah, I could see that being plus or minus 30 meters. But I can't see something that's fundamentally and principally on the beach being 30 meters out. So anyway, the point was, we went back to measure it to see whether there was any like credibility in that point, and there wasn't. So the observation still stands. Paul Voigt has claimed that he's got an email from the council claiming that this is at 30 meters. And I've read the email that he's produced, and he claims that he sent it all around the ballers, but he's never sent it to me. Well, he is true. He's never sent it to me apart from yesterday. And I don't know why he wouldn't do that, given that we're supposed to be, like, you guys are supposed to be discrediting me. So if you guys have got evidence that supports it, why would you not actually produce it when you've been requested to do so many times? And I don't really understand why you wouldn't do that, Paul, because if you're trying to show that I'm a liar, wouldn't you produce it to me and corner me with it? Because that's exactly what I would do with you. Why didn't you do it when requested to do so? Now, I'm happy that there is an email from said guy in council, and I'm going to make a phone call in a bit, Nath, and we'll get him on the phone and we'll put him on the spot a little bit and see whether there's any proof where he got the elevation from. Because I suspect he's got it from the Ordnance Survey map. which does say something. I can't remember what the value was for what it said on Google Earth,
40
on the
meters.
Ordnance Survey map.
40 meters.
But 40 meters.
For what Google quote at 35 feet, they quote 40 meters. It's inside a ring. So I had to stand up. I remember it very distinctly. Paul got me to look at the Ordnance Survey map, which was in high resolution, good quality. I went right up to my screen and looked at the band that you sat in, and the band was a 40-metre band. So that, therefore, your claimed elevation, according to the Ordnance Survey maps, is 40 metres. 100 and, what is it, 100 and something feet.
Well, that's as we've shown before, we've demonstrated that the Ordnance Survey map is a flat map.
130 odd feet, something like that.
For this lower 35-foot point?
Yeah, that's got it. You are in a 40-metre ring there on the Ordnance Survey map. 40 metres.
That's a massive discrepancy,
Good.
isn't
Massive, massive, huge. I agree. And if you can just zoom out, just want you to get a couple of things, and then go, not so much, so back down, just so you've got the triangle and the 35 feet observation. Just zoom in a little bit more. Stop. There we go. No, bring it all in frame, so scroll to the left a bit. Right, there we go. Perfect, perfect. So can you just put your hand over the 35 feet observation? Right, and now if you can just wave your hand over the 29 feet observation. Now, I don't know if it's clear on screen. I'm just going to make the screen a bit bigger. Hopefully this is appearing on screen. Where's the feet? It's down here somewhere. Where's the feet elevation? Here we go, 29 feet. So I'm hoping that appears on screen. Probably not. Damn it. There we go.
You'll have to cover for me for a sec while I grab this call.
Yeah, no worries. So I can circle that it says 29 feet. Hopefully it'll appear if you've got a high enough resolution screen. And that is this spot here by these steps here. And then the 35 feet observation is about here-ish, approximately. This was the first point because it was the first thing argued about. So the first video released was the first thing debated about. And it was at 35 feet. And this is what they actually measured. So if I can bring up my photograph. Find it. Here we go. So this is what they've measured. This is them at the shore. This here, measured by them, which you can scale out yourself. I'm not even going to do it for you. That's a guy. Let's pretend he's 6 feet roughly. You can roughly scale out how high it is to here. And that location with these marked as being steps. This is all taken from the Globeheads video. So they've marked these as, they've called them steps, this thing here. And on Google Earth, that's this. Measured at 29 feet. Bring it up once more. This. Here's the steps. Here's the steps. Taken from their video. Caravans. The observation point is slightly off here, you know, to the right. Here-ish. But this is what they've measured. So, apparently this is hundreds of feet in the air. Yeah. We've seen that position where he rotates his camera on his tripod. And over and over and over and over again, I've heard people declare that that is in excess of 100 feet there. That is a cliff. Huge. And yeah, let's just see. Admittedly, it's not this spot, but you can probably see just by looking at it, you're not going huge distances up in the air. This between here and here is obviously not 100 feet in elevation difference. But this here, you can now get a good idea of exactly what that looks like from the beach. And that's what it looks like. This is their 100-foot cliff. The lowest part of it, admittedly. But that's apparently... It's just nonsense. It's always been nonsense. This is why when, I don't know, 5 or 10 shows ago, I said I've lost all respect for Jem Panda with his smear and his declarations of hundreds of feet in the air. It's all nonsense. He had nothing to back up that evidence, and the only evidence that's been put forward so far is from Globeheads, and it absolutely obliterates any notion whatsoever of Google being out by hundreds of feet. It isn't.
You're lying again, Nathan, aren't you? Nobody ever claimed that that place was 100 feet high. We claimed the place where Anthony was actually standing was over 100 feet high. Right?
Right, I've just come back following a phone call, Jeremy. What's your issue?
Nathan's claiming that people, have, including me, have said that this lower elevation is over 100 feet high. I've never said that. Nobody has ever said that.
No,
it's
Jeremy.
Another lie. You're lying again.
You've been saying that I'm not in the position that I'm at, yet admitting
That's right.
that I am.
You know you aren't. You've even said you aren't. You said the other day when I quizzed you on it, you said you were at the higher elevation.
No,
That's
what
not
are you
what
talking
you're
about?
pointing at here. This is the lower elevation.
What are you
You're
talking
lying
about, Jeremy?
again.
Are you at cross
Why do you keep lying?
Because I'm not sure what you're... Jim Sardens.
This is the lower elevation. What are you lying about, Jeremy? Why do you keep lying? Nathan, why are you lying? Because I'm not sure what this is the lower elevation. What are you lying about, Jeremy? As usual, crickets. Nathan's unable to answer for his lies.
The baby-related disaster is always going to take priority, unfortunately, over the hangout-related disaster of people sniping Gem Panda. Yeah, feel free to go back through the other hangouts. I was vaguely listening while I was dealing with my child emergency to Gem Panda claim we're lying. So the hangouts are all there for people to check exactly what was claimed and who was claiming it. Hello, Flat. Can I help you? How long did we get on the clock before we got sniped? 24 minutes, that's got to be a record. Hello.
Yo. That guy sniped me.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's because we're proving these guys to be, merchants of nonsense. And they are merchants of nonsense. There's no discrepancy on Google. They're now claiming, no, we never claimed it for that. We claimed it for a higher elevation. It's like, well, why didn't you guys go out and go and measure the bit that you wanted to claim? Because as far as I'm concerned, they seem to have only measured accurately one elevation, which is the lower one. They've then worked their way up the hill with the rest of the measurements. So just an extrapolation, an addition of lots of different measurements. It's just nonsense, basically. Why isn't it possible to just go and get one measurement of something? Instead of that, all they've done is manage to confirm that Google's not massively inaccurate. So I don't really care what Gem seems to claim now in terms of what they're saying is massively over 100 feet. None of it's over 100 feet, Gem. None of it. Absolutely none of it.
I don't understand why I would get sniped at a point where it was actually quite... I've been looking forward and hoping that Jeremy would come in at some point because I wanted to confront the slimy little worm that he is, because he is a slimy little worm.
Yeah.
Jeremy has done 3 videos dedicated to me and lying, and it appears from the videos, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't even watch 2 or 3, but the first one, he was arguing about the position of this video, and therefore the height. So for me, the issue is that Jeremy appears to not accept the elevation that's given on Google Earth, but he's giving that to me as the criticism that I'm lying. Is that seemingly right?
Just nothing but smear. Nothing but smear. Because he's claiming you are lying about your elevation height. And all you are doing is taking the height quoted on Google. So to spin it in some way that you're lying, even if it was incorrect. Oh, here we go. Got Gem Panda back. Hello, Gem.
That's another lie, isn't it? That's yet another lie.
Go on, Jeremy. Let's talk.
Let me make it clear to you. The dispute is what your position. That is the dispute. Where you were standing. Can I make this any clearer?
Right. So Nathan, just play the video and show Jeremy.
I said, where were you? The higher elevation or the lower elevation? And you finally admitted the higher elevation. Is that still true?
Jeremy, I think you're misunderstanding the whole concept of what the point is.
I think,
do you understand what the video
is? Did you make
No, you're now making it. You're now making it something it isn't, Jeremy. Elevation? Sorry, Jeremy. The height was always the issue. That was always.
No, it's not. It is not.
Now it's no. Now it's not. So you're saying, hold on. Let's just see if we get some. Hold on, Jeremy. Let's just see if we get any concessions. Now that you've seen,
can you answer my question about your position, Anthony?
Do you mind if I just ask you a quick question, Jeremy? Just a quick question. If you're saying it's not about the heights,
with nonsense about Google Earth and it's your model.
If you're saying it's not about the heights, Jeremy,
now you need to tell us where you were standing.
Try and take a breath. Count to 5. So, are you saying there's no issue with the heights used anymore?
I want an answer to my question.
No, you listen to my question. Are you saying there's no issue with the heights quoted on Google? Or are you still saying there is an issue with them?
The heights quoted on Google, we need to know his position.
Yeah. Are you saying there is no longer an issue with heights?
Or the lower position?
Is there an issue with heights on Google or not?
Yes.
What's the issue?
That is secondary to the position he was standing at.
That seems to be avoidance of my question, Jeremy. So there is an issue with the heights. What is that issue?
You have
please
repeatedly ignored.
I'll do as I choose. There is a quoted height in excess.
The higher position or the lower position
very triggered.
When you made
Always
this elevation.
Triggered when you're on here, Jeremy. Always triggered. Take a deep breath. Try to remain calm. So
I can't remain calm when you're lying. And,
it's okay. I'm asking questions. I'm asking if there is still an issue with Google's elevation.
And I want an answer.
I want to know if there's still an issue.
Readily.
What's the problem with the height, Jeremy? The quoted height is the issue. That's what we've argued about for many shows. Many shows arguing about the elevation height and how wrong Google is.
The issue. You're lying.
Yeah, so is there an issue with the height quoted on Google? You're saying
there
yes.
Is, but,
What's the problem? What's the problem?
The primary issue is with Anthony's position, and we need to know that first before we can talk about heights in Google Earth.
Oh, right. On many occasions, he's waved his mouse over the positions where he was. Many
Yes,
times.
he's told us he was
It's not
at
on a
35
golf
feet
course.
when he wasn't. He was at the top of
Not
the
on a
cliff.
Girl
at
Guides
over
map.
100 feet.
He's
and
not on
you
a
were
little
telling
Girl
the same
Guides
lie
map.
when I came in this hangout a few minutes ago.
Yeah. So the heights you're saying on Google are wrong still, right? Is that what you're saying?
Again, you're trying to distract from the issue.
No, the
Because
issue is that the elevation
issue
height was
is
incorrect
Anthony's
according
position,
to you,
and
Globeheads.
I still have not had an answer to my question.
So
was this
we-
observation
you can
taken from
dice
the
around
higher
this.
or the lower position?
So do you still think Google's wrong then? What they put on their little numbers, do you still think they're
We
wrong?
know it's wrong. We know it's wrong. They say it's wrong.
Yeah,
And
I know they
what's
say it's
more-
wrong, but
what's
is it
more,
wrong?
Nathan,
Is it actually wrong though? Is
you
it wrong?
explain
Is it
how
wrong,
could
or is it pretty
possibly
much
be
right? Is it pretty
Because
much
we
as
know
they
how the-
say,
we know
or is
how
it
the
really
data's
wildly
gathered.
inaccurate?
But I'm not going to be distracted by that issue. We
Neither
need
am
to
I.
know
I'm not going to be
Anthony's
distracted
position.
by the fact
Was
that you
he
Globeheads.
Why is this so difficult?
If I had a
for you to
penny
answer?
for every
Where
time
were
the
you-
Globeheads
where
have
were
said
you
he's
when
well
you
in
took
excess
this
of
image,
100
Anthony?
feet, if I had a penny for that, I'd have at least 16 pence.
Right, let me speak with Jeremy. It seems like a straightforward question that he deserves a straightforward response in some
If you
respects.
mention the words Google Earth,
and
I will be
and I
very
desperately
clear.
want to give it. What
It's
is
very
your question?
triggered. Maybe pause for a second, Anthony. Let him get it all out.
It's all out. Let Anthony go ahead.
What is the question you're asking? What position was I at when I did what?
Well, the observation, which is basically all of this argument has taken place about that composite image. That was taken from your second addendum video. Where was that video shot from?
That video was shot from the top of the hill, the
Okay.
highest point
So
possible.
can we get Google Earth up and can you point to where it was filmed from, please?
No, he's been booted,
Because
unfortunately.
Nathan's very confused about this and he
Been
needs to
booted,
have
so he
it
can't share.
spelled out. We need to
Nathan,
clarify it for the audience.
Right, the first video was taken at 35 feet. The addendum video that the composite was taken from was taken at 52 feet, as per the values on Google Earth.
Right,
That's
let's
it.
just, before we get to the values, it was taken from the higher position at the top of the cliff, right?
The composite was, yes.
Right. So that's what we're talking about, Nathan. Neither of the places that you've pointed to today has anybody ever claimed were over 100 feet.
Yes, they
That's-
have.
Yeah,
Yes, they have. On
That's
multiple
either a
occasions.
mistake on your
Yes,
part
they
or a
have.
lie on your part.
Yes, they have. I've
Because
seen it
neither
happen
of the
on
places
multiple
that you pointed to
occasions.
today I will show up in a minute, were the place that Anthony actually filmed from, were they?
He filmed all the way up and down that hill on multiple occasions. There isn't a single video. There is multiple
He's
videos
just told
from
us where he
multiple
filmed from,
altitudes.
Nathan. That's the position
He's
we're
just told
talking
you.
about. There are no
He's
other
just told
positions
you.
in discussion now.
He's just told you. The
Just
highest
where he
point
filmed,
possible,
just
52
the
feet.
top of the cliff where he filmed from. Where
just
he
told you.
Told
Jeremy, can I just ask Jeremy, why do you assert that nobody has ever said anything above 100 feet? Why do you say that?
I
This is
didn't
a
say
liar.
that. I did not say that.
He's a
That's
liar.
another lie.
He's just a simple liar. Jeremy's a liar.
We've said over 100 feet for the top of the cliff. Nobody has ever said over 100 feet for the two positions
Yes, they
that
have.
Nathan has pointed out
Yes,
in
they
the
have
hangout
on
this morning.
multiple occasions.
That's
Yes,
a
they
lie.
have.
You're a
In
liar,
fact,
Jeremy.
it's not only quoted as being over 100 feet on Ordnance Survey. That quote has been bandied around multiple times. Multiple times. Ordnance
Position
Survey
where
quotes
Anthony
it
was,
at
but not the position
130
that
feet.
you pointed out this morning. In this
Excuse
hangout.
me. Sorry. Ordnance Survey, the one you guys want to use, quotes it at 130 feet.
No, not the position that you two have pointed out this morning. The two positions that you two have pointed out this morning.
Yeah,
The
afraid
position
so.
where Anthony actually was is over 100 feet, but
No,
not
it isn't.
the two
No,
positions.
No,
that
it
you
isn't,
pointed out
Jeremy.
this morning.
Jeremy, it's not over 100 feet. It's not even close to 100 feet.
Right, but that's a different argument. Let's
No, it's
get
the
to-
exact
we can get
argument
to
we're
that in a
having.
minute.
The argument is
What we
about
need
how
to-
high he is.
Are you now clear of where we're talking about of being over 100 feet?
There's a
Are
whole
we all
host
clear
of
about it?
observations
We're
made
talking
up and
about-
down that
we're
ridge,
talking about the
Jeremy.
higher elevation,
Jeremy,
the top
while
of the
you
cliff,
might love it
that-
to be just a single observation, there are multiple observations taken all
No,
the way up
there's
and down
one
that hill.
observation that we've argued about in this debate. There are not multiple
Yes, there
observations.
are.
That's
The video
not
has
true.
been played with him standing at the 35 feet observation with a
Well,
camera
that was the
pointing.
first
Jeremy,
video
can
in
you just
debate
let me
76.
finish,
It
please?
was instantly
During the
released.
debates,
The-
Jeremy, there is a
debate
specific.
77 with-
Jeremy,
with
do you mind
stuff
if I
on the
just finish my
second video
sentence?
and
You
has
seem
been ever
very
since.
triggered, very
So it's
angry with me being
irrelevant.
proven
It's
a
that
liar.
35
I would
feet.
understand. I would be annoyed too if I was proven to be a disingenuous liar. But there we go. That's just your problem. Can you try and calm down while I get a sentence out, please? There are multiple videos during the debate where Anthony plays the YouTube video with him standing at the 35 feet elevation point with his tripod, and he turns around and points at the caravans. From there, we had plenty of people scaling up him to those caravans and claiming him to be in excess of 100 feet. It happened on multiple occasions. Easy to find, easy to reference. You included have quoted him as being over 100 feet on those cliffs. Those cliffs are nowhere near 100 feet high, Jeremy. Nowhere near.
None of that is true.
It's absolutely true.
That is not.
We've seen one of your own cohorts go and measure a different observation point. Don't really know why they've measured that from the shore, but they've measured a different observation point, which is also marked on Google as being 29 feet, and they haven't seemed to have got anywhere near 29 feet with their little pole.
Right, can I respond? The reason people were doing those measurements with caravans against those cliffs is because that's where Anthony originally told us he was standing. Thank you for, re-exposing his original lie. Eventually, we found out where he was actually standing. But at that point, people were claiming...
You guys giving up on the embargo now, then? Is the embargo over, Tony and Jem? Is this the end of the embargo, then? No more boycott? Any more boycotts? Is this the end of your boycott, then, Jeremy?
Why are you talking over me again, Nathan?
Just for fun. Just for fun, just for kicks and giggles. Just to amuse myself and the audience. Fun. Fun to talk over a lie and disingenuous piece of shit like you, Jeremy. You're basically just out to smear somebody. That's what you've done.
That's exactly it.
Look,
let me speak. Right?
You were pointing out two positions and claiming that we said they were over 100 feet.
Yes,
that
that's
is a
correct.
lie.
That's
if you
correct.
say it's not a lie, get the piece of video where people say that.
Yeah, it's been said on multiple occasions. It even is quoted as that on Ordnance Survey. You want to put in huge numbers from the Ordnance Survey map. Yes, they are. 40 metres.
No, they're not.
Suddenly Jeremy's backtracking. This is brilliant. I'm going to shut up and let Jeremy dig his own hole.
The higher position where Anthony was actually stood is over 100 feet. The rest of the cliff, or at least the other two positions he's mentioned, are not over 100 feet. When I pointed them out on my Ordnance Survey map, it was at 75 feet. That's what I claimed it to be. That's in my video, 75 feet. So you're wrong. Again.
Right.
And you're trying to be deceptive about this position. You're trying to make it cloudy in some way, that there were multiple observations. That's not true.
That's always been claimed. I've heard him, if I've heard him, Anthony, say 34 and 52, 34 and 52 during the debate, because he's got two different potential observation positions that could be talked about. So the amount of times I've heard him say 34 and 52 over and over again, he has never not claimed to be at the higher observation point. That's just you lying.
Well, he only admitted
you're
the higher
lying.
elevation.
He has disclaimed this. He has disclaimed it. He's been totally honest. All you've done is been out to smear him.
He was even claiming it last week when I came in the hangout last week. So you're lying again.
You've not measured anything. Your Globehead friends have, and they've shown Google isn't wildly inaccurate. That's what they've shown. Right. They've demonstrated it. You've not measured anything, Jem.
I don't need to measure things. I've got an Ordnance Survey map that tells me accurately what height he was at.
All right. Well, it seems like that isn't the case.
Over 100 feet.
Seems like that's not the case, according to your own Globehead friends who have measured it, Jem.
Data that you know is inaccurate is accurate.
So is the measurements made by Al Kay and Miles Davis inaccurate because it's just a poll?
We've got an Ordnance Survey map. Doesn't matter.
And we've also got a guy standing next to the cliff holding a pole. So are you telling me that I should take the Ordnance Survey map over a guy physically measuring it?
Nathan, because you don't seem to be hearing the words, we have an Ordnance Survey.
Yeah, the maps that come from the hypothetical geoid that's flattened. Yeah, that's fascinating, Jem. Anyway, on with the actual measurement made by your cohorts.
Are you highlighting another thing that you got wrong, Nathan?
No, I haven't got anything wrong. I've got a video you can go and refer to called QED-WGS84 if Jeremy will stop talking for more than 2 seconds because he's very triggered. Caught out in his lies, and he's very triggered about it, but that's okay. So there's a video you can go and watch with a professional engineer, surveyor, veteran surveyor.
The veteran surveyor he was.
Correct. You can go and listen to him explain how the Ordnance Survey maps are created using the WGS84, which references a hypothetical geoid.
All right, let me speak with Jeremy. Jeremy, what do you think the lie is?
Your position.
Right. I've been very, very clear with regards to the position.
You've repeatedly lied about your position.
Right.
When Miles
So
challenged you on it, you said no, you were not at the top of the cliff, and then you produced evidence that showed that you were at the top of the cliff. That was a flat-out lie.
No, I've listen,
You
Jeremy.
can't
I've
pretend it wasn't. It was a lie, and you've lied repeatedly throughout. You were even lying the other day when that guy was in here. You were trying to convince him you were at that lower level when you weren't.
So
You're
just
even
to
doing
be
it
clear,
today.
Jeremy, can I just clear something up then? So you're saying that you've given the elevation of that as being 70 meters, you said. Did you say? Or 70 feet?
No, I didn't. That's not what I said. Why,
What did you say?
Why is it that
Jeremy,
you're
calm
stupid,
down.
Nathan?
I'm asking you a
Is it
few
that
questions.
You're just really slow.
It's okay.
Or
Don't
are
get
you
so
deliberately
defensive.
trying to
It's just
obfuscate
a few
the evidence?
questions, Jeremy. Don't get so defensive. I'm asking, what do
I will
you
get
put?
defensive because this is
What do
insulting.
you
now.
put the higher elevation position as in feet?
I didn't put it in feet.
Give it me in
Meters?
meters then.
It was it. That was I didn't put it in meters. That was in my first video. At that point, I was still giving Anthony the benefit of the doubt.
How high is the higher observation position, Jeremy?
It's 33 meters.
So that's less than 100 feet.
33 meters
33
in
meters.
feet.
100
Not
feet
less
then,
than,
yeah?
so about 108 feet or something like that. And then there's your
Right.
tripod to go on top of that.
So hold on a
and
second,
the-
Jeremy.
and
So
the,
just let me get this correct,
the allowance
Jeremy.
that we're making
Sorry,
for the low
Jeremy.
height.
So you're saying it's 108 feet, correct? Over 100, over
Well, I can't-
100 feet.
Let's check. Isn't it?
Not
best
let's
if we
check.
know the actual
You're
height
telling us
rather
it's
than we try
over
and actually know
100 feet, aren't you?
108.2 feet.
Over 100 then?
enough for you?
Over 100.
Nathan,
Yes,
didn't Jeremy say before
108.
nobody had said it was over 100 feet?
Yeah, he's just said in this clip that nobody's claiming it to be over 100, and literally minutes later he's saying it's 108.
Again, you're trying to obfuscate.
Not
Again,
obfuscate,
no.
and just using your own
We're
words
using-
and your own
we're
lies
using your own
against you,
words
Jeremy.
against you.
That's what we're doing.
That we're now talking about Anthony's.
It's nice
higher
that you're here to
position.
defend your lies. Nice that you're here. I'd be
You
here
said-
too defending
you
it.
said the
Your
lower
words
position
were
of the
nobody
claim
has said
was
anything above 100
And
feet.
I
and you
pointed
just
out
said
that
that.
Nobody
was a
has
lie,
said
which it
anything
is.
over 100 feet. That's what you said.
Yes, because we're talking about a different position, Nathan.
Oh, you're talking about
How
a
is
different
this
position
difficult
now,
for
Jeremy.
you?
Why don't you try and get it
We're not
clear about
talking
which
about the
position
lower
you're talking
position
about,
now,
Jeremy?
Nathan.
Don't
We're
you know
talking
which
about the
position you're
higher
talking
position.
about?
The higher
Don't you
position
know?
is over 100
You
feet.
need to
The
figure
lower
out which
positions
position you're
are
talking
not
about,
over
Jeremy.
100
Get it
feet.
clear in your own
It's
mind.
difficult,
Get yourself
Nathan.
together.
You should be able to
Take a
figure
few
it out.
breaths and figure out where you're talking about.
Right, so let me go back to Jeremy. Jeremy, just be clear. Are you talking about the 35 feet observation or the addendum video? Which one are you talking about?
All of this debate, every single hangout on the Isle of Man, except for debate 76, has been about the composite from the addendum video. All of it.
Sure. Right, so is there any problem with that, or is that a fact that you're happy with?
So I hope that's a fact that we're both happy with. Nathan seems
Agreed.
to think there are a multitude of observations taken from different heights.
There are.
So he needs to be
There
clear
are.
on it.
There are.
There are.
Right, so that's opposite to what you've just said.
No,
isn't it?
I've said
Because
there's a
we've just
multiple
said
number of
that all
observations
the
taken
debate
up
has
and
been
down that
about
hill. That's a
from
fact.
one
There are.
video, one position.
Right, Jem, let's keep it on fact, right? Keep it simple, right? You're talking about the 52 feet observation height, yeah? What is the
We
issue
haven't
with
made
that?
this point clear, have we? During this debate, have all of the hangouts that have taken place, apart from the very first one, been about an observation from the second video, the addendum video?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, pretty
Yes.
much all of them.
Were there
apart from the most recent-
observations from any other positions apart from the very first one?
Yes.
There were.
We spoke about
Okay, well,
35
what
feet.
video did they come from?
The first video that came out, which was not the addendum one.
I said, apart from the first one, were there any others discussed? Any other observations
No.
apart from the first
No.
one?
No.
Right.
What do you mean? Sorry,
so
can I just
there
get a
are
bit of
only-
clarity?
so
Sorry,
there are
Jeremy,
only-
just
there
for
are
my own
only-
benefit. Sorry,
Hang
Jeremy.
on, let's
Sorry,
make
just
this-
want to ask
we've
one
got to
question.
clarify this for the
What do you mean
audience,
about?
Nathan.
What do you mean apart
So-
from the first one? What do you mean apart from the first one?
The first debate on it, 76.
So what you're saying is there has been literally on the debates 2 different observations debated, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Jolly good.
Right. However, the first of those observations was only shown in the very first debate, and every subsequent debate was about the second observation. Are we all agreed on that? And there are
there's two
no other
observation.
observation
Sorry,
flights.
I just checked what I'm agreeing to. So I'm agreeing to the fact that two different observation positions have been debated about. Yes, I will agree to that.
Yes, and will you agree that that one of those positions was only debated about in the first debate?
I don't know. I haven't checked.
No, I wouldn't agree to that. We were talking about the 35 feet for the last 2 weeks, Jeremy, continuously. And the reason is we see the land in the 55 feet or the 52 feet observation. We see the same land at 35 feet. And I was taking people back
you
to the
don't.
point.
No, you do
Yes,
not.
we
That's
do.
not true.
Yes, we do.
That's another
It's
lie.
not there on a globe. Not possible to be seen. Fun.
No, because I've compared the two
globe.
images from the first and the second video.
Doesn't
and
work
you do not
unless
see
you
the
have
same
a line of sight.
That's another lie.
Right. So Nathan,
You can
play
check
the
it
video
very
and show
easily
Jeremy
now. You
what I
could
showed
look at
last-
Machold Head and you can see the distance between it and the horizon are different. It's very obvious.
What's very
Nathan,
obvious?
would you
I'm a bit confused, Jeremy.
The distance between the base of Machold Head Lighthouse and the horizon is different between the first video and the addendum video.
Right, but on the first video, Jeremy, I didn't pan down to the left of the island. I was interested in what the floaty land was on the north side of the island.
That's irrelevant. You just claimed you could see exactly the same thing.
It's irrelevant.
Jeremy.
So there's a 35 feet observation been made of land that's about 100 feet high at 31 miles.
Well, that isn't what
Jem,
we
the
discussed.
Glober, thinks that's irrelevant.
I
Love it. Flat Earth proof. Who cares? Who cares, man? Flat Earth proof. Who cares?
I'm bored of you. You're just liars, and I'm bored of you.
Yeah, I'm bored of you. I've got no respect for you anymore, Jeremy. That's why I'm talking over you and taking the piss out of you.
Nathan. You behave like
you're a disingenuous guy. You smear people for no reason, with no proof, no nothing.
How you've been taken in by these idiots.
Jeremy,
they've been wrong about everything, and you continue to be taken in by them. It's
Jeremy,
beyond idiotic.
Jeremy.
Anyway, I said my piece. You're liars. You continue to lie.
Yeah,
Anthony
that's what I would do if I was smearing people and lying about people. I'd go and call the people I'd lied about liars. That's what people like you do, Jeremy. They go around telling everyone that everyone else is liars and calling everyone liars.
Prove it.
When in reality,
we know he's lying.
you are the disingenuous guy you are. You're out to smear people.
Lie himself.
There's no claims been made by Anthony about his height. Only Google have made those claims, but you've gone out and smeared Anthony.
Were you at the higher elevation? No, I wasn't. I can prove it. Here's a video that proves it that was from the higher elevation. That's what Anthony said. He lied. It's simple as that.
No, afraid not, Jeremy. Basically, Jeremy, you are disingenuous and your only purpose is to smear people. That's your only reason for being here. He's made a simple claim. Here's what Google claim I'm at in height. And then he's stated the figure that's in the bottom right-hand corner of Google. You've come along and said Anthony has lied about his height, and he hasn't. That makes you a disingenuous person. You're out to smear. That's your only purpose. I've got no respect for you anymore.
So now that he's gone, let's deal with the points that he said. He said that he has not heard anybody say anything over 100 feet. Yeah, he didn't. Then when you asked him the question, what observer height would you put Anthony at? He said 106 or 108. That, in his own words, is the people that claim that I was over 100 feet. Lewis Hackett did the same thing. Rumpus did the same thing. He started off by saying it was nearer to 80. And then he said it was nearer to 100. So that's essentially over 100. I'm going to claim that that's over 100 because it is. They're all saying over 100. However, Jeremy doesn't seem to remember what the actual claim is. The actual claim, regardless of the upper height, because we used that for the composite that Branty obtained, and we used that to identify things, but that wasn't the claim. The claim was at the 35 feet elevation, we see land that shouldn't be there on a ball. So yes, we did use the composite, and yes, we did use that and argue numerous things over it. But the original claim asserted was that we see land at 35 feet that should not be there. And the reason why that's important is because although I could see more at the top of the hill, I could still see it when I was halfway down the hill towards the bottom. That's the point. Jeremy forgets that. Jeremy thinks that there's some kind of deceit or dishonesty going on. And the reality is this. If the Earth was a ball, we wouldn't see that land. So whatever that land is, be it Timbuktu or otherwise, if it's Isle of Man, it drops behind the curve by some way. That's a problem. Jeremy doesn't see that. Jeremy sees the elevation as the issue, but forgets the whole point of the asserted claim, What's the land at 35 feet? That is the issue. Nathan, it'd be great if you'd show the clip where I was at the side of the caravans, and then they can argue over the elevation from there.
Nah, man, no can do. I've decided, friend or foe, I'm not playing anyone's videos. I know you've been booted, and it would be nice, but you're on your phone and on Skype, and that's just the way it is. The bottom line is, every time the debate took place in regards to the 35 feet elevation, because it was a position you could confirm, because you rotated your camera and showed where you were right next to the caravans, and that was your original video, your original assertion in terms of, why can I see this land on the right? Is it Scotland? And everyone laughed their heads off. Oh, you can't see Scotland, you can't see Ireland, blah, blah, blah. Laughed their heads off. That was from 35 feet. And there was plenty of pictures that were used with people compositing together, little caravans on top of each other and little men standing on top of each other. You name it, they all did it. They all claimed you were hugely in excess of 100 feet. We had people saying that you were 40 metres, which is like 130 feet or something, from the Ordnance Survey map. 30 feet in excess of 100 feet. We've got people like Lewis Hackett saying easily 100, probably in excess of 120 feet up that cliff. You're like, guys, no. Doesn't matter what you want to claim is...
Hello?
We've got Chris. How you doing, Chris? Boycott over then, take it.
Sorry.
No more boycott? Got Jem Panda in, we've had Tony, we've got you now, had Tim Osman. Boycott over, I take it.
No, sorry, I got rid of him. I did that. Maybe I should have done that not as quick as I did, but that was down to me. With regards to Miles, we've demonstrated that Miles has made a calculated estimate of his observer height to 40 feet, but we measured it to 29 feet down to the water level when he did his observation. That guy that has grossly exaggerated his elevation, that claims it was an innocent estimation, has now put a comment in chat that says, Riley, you were not at 35 feet. The lower cliff is at least 60 feet. Your camera height was 80 feet. So, unless
Even
I've got
now,
a 20
they
foot
still claim
tripod.
it. Let's put the picture back up again. Let's see if I can find it. So basically, we've got... It was on screen earlier when you had Google Earth on, so people feel free to scroll back and check where the two different locations are. But the bottom line is, this is what we've got. We've got them measuring, admittedly the lowest part. This goes on another 100 yards or so to the actual elevation point, and the maximum that Google Earth quotes that is 52 feet. That's the highest point. But it's not like it goes suddenly up 100 feet somewhere along here. Far from it. This is the bottom point, 29 feet on Google. This is what they're measuring it at. This is their pole. We would assume that this is a reasonable representation of a guy stood next to a pole that you can scale really easily. And there ain't no 120-foot cliff in front of him. Far from it. But that's what these guys have been trying to argue. That it's out by 100 feet. And it ain't. It's just ain't. It simply isn't the case. It's not out by 100 feet. Nowhere near. If it's out by a couple of feet, I'd be surprised. Now, if you want to argue that it's accurate to Google here, it roughly matches what they quote as elevation here, but when you go up about another 200 yards, suddenly it goes up 100 feet in the air. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
Jem Panda has come on and go, oh, we're not arguing about the height, we're arguing about the position. It's like the amount of times I heard you say 34 or 52, 34 or 52. Yes, I'll give you that I might be at the higher location. Yes, I'll give you that. The amount of times I heard you say it was unreal. For him to say, oh no, it's not about the height anymore, it's about the elevation position. It's like, what are you talking about?
Nathan.
Yes, Chris?
Hello? Imagination is reborn in essential external reality. I just wondered what you thought about that.
So, what the hell does that have to do with them going out to St. Bees and measuring a point on the map that's quoted at 29 feet? What's it got to do with that?
It's kind of, goes over my head. Almost convinced me to be a flat earther, actually. But, I don't know, I've been looking into a few things, and apparently the invisible unfolds through personal belonging, and I just wanted your take on that.
I want to know why loads of people have quoted Anthony as being 30 metres plus or minus the elevation given on Google.
I have no idea.
When measured by your cohorts...
I can't speak to that, I'm afraid.
Oh, right, well, try.
Your movement grows through subjective facts, so, it's... a single particle is inherent in existential abstract
Just
beauty,
talking
and
shite.
you know, I don't really know what
Bored
else
of you.
to
You're
say.
talking nonsense. You guys have asserted that he's massively in excess of
Well,
100 feet
well,
up this
knowledge
cliff.
does co-create reckless happiness. So I don't.
Yeah, I've seen
I
you.
really don't
I've
know what you
listened to
guys are
you
talking
on.
about.
I've
And
listened to you on
non-judgment
Discord.
expresses
Oi!
positive
I've listened to you
timelessness.
say
I'm
these
sorry.
things on
All right, on you
Discord.
go.
Now you're just babbling about nonsense because you're
I'm
basically
not.
in a
No,
corner.
I'm not. I mean, right, okay. I know it's a bit existential, but you know, if you really just think about it, the unpredictable is the ground of a symphony of love, and I don't know why you guys don't just embrace that and stop arguing
I'll
about
embrace
30
the
foot
fact
or
that you
30
guys have
meters.
spent quite literally a month trying to discredit Anthony based on what he has quoted from Google, and when measured by your guys, it confirms that Google's not wildly inaccurate. If anything, it's out by a couple of feet.
I think he's just rambling up for the sake of rambling. I think the thing, right, Jeremy claims that I, in some way, was higher than I was. And obviously that comes from a particular point that was given in Google Earth. Now the reality is, when we asked Jeremy to calculate it, he calculated it in excess of 100 feet. Somebody's in.
Yeah, I've just kicked him. Didn't say hello, just came in with his echoey screen. Can't be bothered to mute, can't be bothered to say hello. Goodbye. Yeah, basically, these guys have just lied through their back teeth, claimed you're at huge elevations. Not that that rescues them from the holographic universe that they think they live in terms of what's presented in photographs. It doesn't change any of that, even if they were at these higher elevations. But the bottom line is, you're well under 100 feet. That's the reality of the situation. Nothing's going to change. Anybody that's claiming you're 30 metres in excess of what it claims on Google has to show that Google has an inaccuracy, and they haven't. They've gone back and shown that it's about right. That's what they've shown from the shore.
That's what we were getting to before with Miles, before Jeremy walked in, or before what's-his-face walked in. Miles was saying that he wasn't at 35 feet. He was at 60 and then 80, he said. Well, you've seen the tape measure chucked down the side. Me and Ranty have both measured it. Now, no matter what maths we use, it always comes down to a similar result. We always get plus or minus 3 feet, given the value that's on there. Mavis Gaming, say hello.
Hello.
Given the value that's on there. Mavis Gaming.
Hello.
Hello.
I said,
Johnson Wowzer.
You can mute
I
your
said
watch
hello.
page, Mavis.
I said hello.
Yeah, I can just hear echoing.
I'm just
that's all.
listening.
Yeah, Johnson Wowzer's in as well, though.
Island recently.
You gonna say hello, Johnson?
Hello?
Hello, Johnson.
I just, you remember
Actually,
when you played Island recently?
I'm streaming.
Yeah, about the elevation.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
What can we
I'm
do
just
you for?
listening.
What can we do for you, gentlemen?
I just wanted to remind you of when you lied about seeing Ireland, because you kept calling Jem a liar, and then you went back to the elevations.
Oh, another slow coach. No worries. Let me explain it to you, Dawn Treader UK. So,
you
Dawn.
can't see Ireland now. You're backing away from that.
No, we can't see Ireland. That's correct. We did make a
So you
mistake.
lied. You
Actually,
lied.
technically, it's just me that made a mistake because what I
just
asserted
you,
was that it
just
was
you.
Ireland.
Randy,
Well, actually,
Randy,
hang on.
they went to
Let's
Blackpool.
establish what is the lie. Hang
No
on, we got
lie.
Another one.
Why do you guys keep sniping me? I didn't say anything bad.
I didn't. Nobody did. It's the people joining are sniping you. Anthony can't snipe you. He's not in the call. I'm not sniping you. I haven't ejected you. It's just people join to snipe. Nothing I can do about it, I'm afraid, Tony. I'm really sorry.
So what is we have to, right, let's go back to the basics, okay? The video at 35 feet, if you want to argue over the height, go be my guest, but we've measured it, okay? It's relatively accurate. That shows land that should not be there if we live on a ball. It's way behind the curve of the earth, okay? That is the point. So if you guys want to attack any part of the video, you should be attacking how big the ball is, because that land is evident in the video. Shouldn't be there. That's the argument. Anything else along them lines that goes off on a tangent is irrelevant.
I don't mind addressing you though, Tony, as you've asked about the specifics of Ireland, so I don't mind going through them. I asserted it was Ireland based on the evidence that was presented to me. Chris has tried to represent what a ball would give you. If it was a ball 24,900 miles in circumference and he modelled the Isle of Man observation onto that ball, what we would see was what he presented. None of that will change. That model failed, and the main focus point of that model was Morgold Lighthouse at 31 miles. That was the majority of the demonstration was done using that particular observation, which is why I put the screws to people like Tim Osman when they come on and start to assert that the Earth is a sphere. It isn't, and that has been absolutely unequivocally proven by the demonstration in QED. However, those models, including Google Earth, in terms of what Ranty was investigating, led us to believe that it was Ireland, so that is what we declared, me especially, and I've had to eat humble pie and declare that I was wrong. The models led me to believe it was Ireland when it wasn't.
Humble pie?
Sorry, say that again?
Are you ready to eat more humble pie?
Well, I can only eat as much humble pie as to say I was wrong about Ireland. The models led me to believe it was Ireland and I was wrong.
When you've lied so much, like,
I haven't
been watching
lied.
you for months.
No.
You've lied.
That's not
Yeah,
lying.
So
What
let's
you
see
say
the
is
evidence
lie.
to support the assertion that more humble pie is necessary.
Yeah, it's going to come. Everything you say that is a lie, you'll have to eat humble pie later because of it.
It's not a lie.
All right.
I'm not eating
So,
humble pie because I've
yeah.
lied. I'm not conceding
Pretending you see Ireland
lies.
is a
I'm not
huge
guilty
lie.
of
Massive
anything.
lie.
No,
Pretending
I
you
don't
see
have any
Ireland.
guilt. There's no guilt involved here. I'm not guilty of lying. What I'm saying
Yes.
is I was wrong. The model by both Google Earth and Chris's 24,900 mile sphere both led me to the conclusion that we could see Ireland. That is in fact incorrect.
You made it up. The composite's too bad to tell. You pretended you could see
Well,
Ireland because you thought that was
okay.
better weight.
Time will
weight,
tell in that
better.
regard, Dawn Treader. We're yet to present the flat Earth equivalent, so time will tell in that regard. But in the meantime, I am happy to concede I was wrong. That's not a lie.
That's really weird.
That's not a lie. I get things wrong frequently. So what? That's not lies.
Mistakes on purpose are lies.
Not on purpose. I've just explained my reasons. Sorry, Dawn, do you not understand my reasoning? My reasoning is simple. The models that I was shown led me to the conclusion that it was Ireland, and that's what I declared. That was wrong. That's not lying. That's being led by evidence to make an assertion, which is what I did. Once that was proven incorrect, which is what we've asked people to do, literally said debunk this claim, that's what we've invited people to do, and upon that time, I've conceded that I was incorrect. What's wrong with that?
Why are you calling Jem a liar then, if you're now just saying you made a mistake?
He's just literally on this show told us that nobody declared the height to be over 100 feet, then he declared it to be over 100 feet.
Well, you did add a lot of confusion into your...
Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's terrible. I couldn't care less. I deliberately added confusion. I deliberately obfuscated. I deliberately talked over him. That's what I did because I've got no respect for him, Dawn.
Remember how you don't like composites, but you used the worst composite ever to try and prove flat Earth.
Well, it's getting better all the time. Fortunately, Dawn...
No, it's terrible. His girlfriend's
Dawn,
a photographer.
can you just pause while I reply? Just pause. You seem to be a bit like Jem. You're very wound up and agitated, but it's okay.
All right,
just
Nathan.
pause. Bear with me a second, Peter. So, just so you realise, they've gone back to the exact same observation point and got better images. Identical. No hyena looming. Nothing making it, refract higher or lower. Exactly the same positioning. So they've gone back and got really high resolution photos. So over time, the composite, which is absolutely repeatable, will improve because they can go back and get better shots. The initial tourist shots, yeah, they could have been better. They were exceptionally good, enough to pick out landmarks. However, that will improve because the observation doesn't change when you go back and repeat the observation. You would expect it to. You would expect it to if it's being brought back into our line of sight from a position where we cannot see it. With refraction, you would expect there to be variance there on a different day. There isn't, because the Earth isn't spherical and nothing's being brought back from a line of sight we don't have with refraction. That's nonsense.
So, we're not allowed to use refraction.
Seems to be a lot of feedback.
But you're allowed to use refraction to explain an obstruction.
We haven't used it yet, but we will in the model. We can explain refraction with a degree of accuracy that is unsurpassed by the globe.
The globe can't claim refraction.
You say it again, please.
Oh dear
Dawn.
me, you're all a bunch of liars, aren't you, really?
When's it right to claim refraction? When's it right?
Well, you can't just say that. You can't just say
Right.
we're all lies. I mean, the whole globe's a lie. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we're just being trolled. You guys have been proven wrong. The height that you have quoted is wrong.
Absolutely.
globe heads
You
were
tell me.
wrong.
Let me prove it wrong.
You're
The
changing,
globe tards
changing
Yeah.
got it
story
wrong.
little
You
guy.
all ended up looking really
Absolute liar,
stupid.
right?
The globe side has embarrassed
Absolute
itself completely.
You've got it
the
wrong.
story again.
You know,
He's back to much.
Chris Monk brought a beautiful model out. It was beautiful, it was. And you guys can't debunk it. It's not possible.
Chris Monk's model. Funny old piece of blender work that is.
Well, I don't know how you could possibly debunk that because
No,
it's just
lots of distraction
it's-
going on. No concessions that you guys were
The
a mile
maths.
out in terms of
I
the
mean,
discrepancy you claim
Dave,
Google had.
you
Heights are going to get
agree
forgotten
that the
about.
maths
Is this,
is spot on.
is this
I
an
mean,
attempt to brush
come
it
on,
under the
you
carpet?
put that WGSC in, and then you plug in the numbers, and it comes back, and it's flat. I mean, there's just no two ways about it.
Yeah, the observation of Morgord Lighthouse can be repeated. Refraction, this perfect day you think you had on that one
Refraction's
instance,
just an
that's
Illuminati
nonsense.
construct to me.
Yeah, it's still in exactly the same place. It's still in exactly the same place under different
Well, I mean,
atmospheric
if you
conditions.
look into it, and you see the all-seeing eye.
It's not looming.
That's all.
It's not looming up. It's not being loomed up by refraction. It's nonsense.
Yeah, Nathan, you are aware that Ranty repeated that and seen Mackle Lighthouse again, exactly
Yeah,
in the same position.
that's what I'm
with the
saying.
same amount of.
That's exactly what I'm saying. The observation's repeatable, and it's in exactly the same place. So if you want to claim that slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena is bringing the lighthouse back from beyond a curve, it seems to be doing it in different conditions on different days to exactly the same position. So for me, that kind of debunks that it's refraction being brought back. But there we go.
Fully agree. Absolutely.
Good.
No
Good.
two
Glad
ways
you
about
agree.
it.
Because the only
But did
explanation
you know
thereafter,
did you
because that
know
leaves
the
you with one
Illuminati
explanation. Glad you
and the
agree.
all-seeing eye
Because that leaves
in
you with the only
refraction
explanation being that it's a
always
flat
back.
plane. That's the only explanation left if you haven't got slightly looming non-standard refraction to bring it back from beyond the curve. If you haven't got that, what you're left with is it's a flat plane. That's the observation that you're seeing.
Think about the Illuminati all-seeing eye.
It's all right, you guys
right?
troll.
That's all
It's
about
all right.
light.
I would do the same, man. If I was being absolutely obliterated by a Tesco van driver, I would troll Me Too. That's what I would do. But that's the bottom line here.
If that's all they've got, then
Globe's
that's
being
all they've
completely
got. What can we
obliterated
do
by a
about it?
common
There's
man.
nothing
It's
much
fun.
we can do. If we're
I would
going to
troll
win
too.
on the flat side, then there's
Tried
nothing
to
they
get
can
out
do
of it
about
by
it. It's
claiming the
ridiculous.
heights were much higher, but you failed. Failed miserably. Your hologram
Yeah,
world is falling
absolutely,
apart around you.
Absolutely failed.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
Could you bring up the Chris Monk model? Because it's a beautiful model, it is.
Yeah, we've not demonstrated it yet. We will.
Well, just as it is, because, I think everyone here should see it. See the beauty in it.
Oh, they will.
See the,
Oh, they will.
the
They
fine
will.
detail in it.
Definitely, they will. Subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Wonderful. Brilliant.
It is brilliant. The Earth is obviously flat, and no amount of nonsense from globe heads in terms of the elevation of the
fully
observer
agree, Dave.
is
Fully
going to
agree,
undo
but,
that.
if
No amount
it's
of
that
nonsense and
is-
lies can undo it.
Well, if you could bring up that beautiful model that Chris Monk made so we can all see it again.
We
and
will.
Just,
You will.
Just take a moment
We
to
will.
marvel in its glory.
You will.
It
You
would
will
be
marvel
great.
in its glory. You will. You will have that opportunity. Be sure to subscribe.
Is it 33 kilometers thick, our flat Earth?
Yes, it seems to be the case that it's 33
Do you think
millimeters,
if we dug
33
down a
kilometers
little bit,
thick
do you
when
think if we
reduced
dug a
using the
bit, we drilled
WGS84
down into
flattening
the
factor.
bottom,
That's
there
correct.
might be another world underneath, and
That's when we-
everyone's
that's
like,
when we flatten
you know
something
that
called
those globe
a hypothetical
heads say
geoid.
that people in Australia are upside down. Well, maybe on the other side of the flat disc, there's people just like us, and that's maybe what they're hiding.
Heavy trolling ahead, it seems.
Has that ever occurred to
Very
you,
heavy
Nathan?
trolling.
Because say since Chris has brought this beautiful model out, that's what I think it is.
That's lovely. So this is the best response that the Globeheads have got from them being absolutely undone with their nonsense assertions that it's 30 metre discrepancy on Google Earth.
Absolute
This is the response.
nonsense.
Beautiful response, guys. Love it.
It's just ridiculous what they come out with.
It
I
is.
mean, if the flat Earth is in fact 33 metres thick, the
No,
maths
that's
just
a
bears
measurement
out.
for the WGS84. That's based
Yeah,
on a
absolutely.
hypothetical geoid
Absolutely.
being flattened.
The
Nothing
math
to do with
seems
nothing to do with the globe, really.
Prove
It's a
that the
hypothetical
flat
geoid that
Earth
they flatten.
is in fact, it's in fact 33 metres thick. So if that is the case, then maybe we should get, someone to dig down and see if we can get to underneath.
Who knows what's there?
Yeah, you can't dig through a flattened hypothetical geoid.
No, you can't, but you can dig through a flat Earth.
Yes, you could dig through a flat Earth. The Earth is indeed flat, as
Do you
demonstrated by
think we should
Moorboard
do a
Lighthouse.
GoFundMe campaign for that?
For what? For people to just look out
To
the window
dig
and
down
realise the world's flat?
33
No
kilometres.
funding needed. People can just observe the obviousness of their reality.
But I mean, we're going to need some equipment, Nathan. I mean, come on, be
No
realistic.
equipment needed. Just your eyes. It's obvious. No curve.
Just be realistic. You know, we're going to need money to
Don't need
dig
any.
down
We ain't listening.
33
Are you
kilometres.
deaf? Are you deaf?
And maybe,
deaf?
who knows?
No money
There
needed.
might be people under there. Just
No
by
money needed.
us. And who knows, maybe their government's lying to them too, telling them that it's a globe.
Yeah, they are lying to you about it being a globe. Or a hypothetical geoid, whatever you want to use. I don't mind.
Well, they're definitely lying. There's just no two ways about that. I mean, anyone can see that.
Yeah. Well, some people don't. Some people would rather lie about the observation height when looking
Why
at
would
Moorboard
you lie?
Lighthouse.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Ridiculous to lie about something so simple, so easy to measure.
And how did Chris Smart do these calculations? I mean, I would really like it if we could just bring up that beautiful, well, it's just beautiful.
Well, you
Bring
keep
up that
asking me
beautiful
to bring up Chris
geoid
Monk's
with
model and he's
our
not
flat
here. You
disc
realise that, right?
in
You
the
realise the
middle.
absurdity of what you're asking? You're asking me to do
But
something...
you brought up the other day. I mean, I saw it the other day.
Yeah, I've said it 3 times. Subscribe and hit the bell notification icon
Oh, I've
to keep up
absolutely
to date.
subscribed. I mean, I've been subscribed
Excellent.
for some time now.
You're a good
I
man.
would never
Thank you for your
I
subscription.
wouldn't miss a single of your shows. I mean, it's just
Good,
it's
then you
wonderful.
definitely
It's
won't miss
great.
Chris Monk presenting his model. That's brilliant news. Good to hear.
Brilliant, wonderful.
It is wonderful, wonderful.
I would miss a single of your
Hello,
shows.
No. How you doing?
Won't miss
Chris Monk presenting his model.
Hello?
Brilliant news. Good You've got your page.
Brilliant.
Can you mute it? It's wonderful,
Hi.
wonderful.
I would miss
Useless idiots.
Oh, I thought it was Spurs trying to join.
Well, whoever it was, they couldn't manage to mute their watch page.
Well, I fixed Spurs' chemo with the whole ISS thing. They've not even been able to debunk that. I mean, it clearly comes in from 2 different directions. How do you explain that on a globe Earth? You can't do it. It's not possible.
So yeah, it's been a good day. Globe heads with their
Wonderful
assertions
day,
about
great
30-metre
day.
discrepancies.
Really
Wonderful.
cold down
Totally
here
debunked
in
by the
Bristol,
Globe heads.
but, you
Wonderful
know,
day. Wonderful day.
Not much we can do about
Really
it.
pleased. And the best they've got to address it is this. These trolls. Talking nonsense.
Yeah.
That's the best they've got.
Isn't it,
Well,
isn't it funny that
what
Jeremy
else can
comes
you
in
do?
on a
I mean,
rant
you
and
just
then
have to
it's followed
put
by
up with the
attack
trolls and
after attack
expose
after
them
attack.
for what they are.
Speaks
Because they've got
volumes, doesn't
nothing
it?
else.
Yeah,
I'm just surprised that the Globies don't realise that Jeremy himself has just destroyed his own credibility by claiming that nobody has said anything above 100 feet. And then the next sentence out of his mouth was that you were at 106 feet.
108.
And the Globies don't realise that.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what height he's talking about. He doesn't know which observation position he's talking about. He doesn't know anything, basically.
I actually don't know what Jeremy's issue is anymore. At
It's
first,
because
I
they don't
thought
have an
it was
issue.
that
It's been destroyed. The height issue is now null and void, and they've got nothing else to argue about, so they're just trying to pick stuff out of the air.
Well, I'm just surprised at Jeremy's position. I think he's doing what Miles did when Miles started off with the Bibby Wave Master 1. He made a mistake, and rather than back down and admit it and say, "Do you know what? I've made a mistake here. Ranty was correct."
Yeah, well, you know, he made a mistake. So
Carried
there's
on
nothing
and made
much you can
video
do
after
about
video
that,
and
you know.
hangout
He made
after
a mistake,
hangout.
put his
It's
hands
like
up to the story.
Jeremy's doing the exact same thing.
Who's doing the same thing? Anthony, who's doing the same thing? I'll sort him out. Tell me who it is. I'll pay him a visit, you know.
Just reading a
Can you
message
hear
from
me,
one of my
Nathan?
friends.
Can you hear me, Nathan? Can you hear me? Nathan?
No, I can't hear you.
Well, there's this bloke, his name's Tony.
You can't hear me, Nathan?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far. We've got about 3/4 of an hour left on this debate. If you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box once the video has rendered. As I say, there is about 3/4 of an hour left on this live stream, so if you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
$45 left. Great, wonderful. Bring up Chris Mog's model. Let's all bask in its glory. Because it's wonderful. It's a beautiful model, it is.
Cool, man. Yeah, big it up some more.
33 kilometers thick, Nathan.
That's the WGS84. That's not Chris's model.
This is WGS84, is it? Where does it say it's 33 kilometers? Can you show us that?
Yeah, just go and watch the video. WGS84
Well, I did watch the
QED.
video. It was a great video. It was a beautiful video. But, you know, we've got much else to talk about. You know, so bring it up. It's a beautiful model. Everyone should see it.
Nathan, I'm going to have to step out because I've got to be somewhere. But I won't go on in some live credits, so I shall catch you in a bit.
No worries. Good to see you. Hopefully see you again tomorrow, Anthony. Have a good day.
Yeah, good luck with the rest of the fest.
So go. Nathan. 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 Nathan, can you hear me?
That's gross. Are you just here to eat your dinner? Because I'm going to kick you out if you are. Bye-bye. Eat your dinner somewhere else. That you, Ali? How you doing?
Oh, hang on. Yep, let me turn that thing down. There you go.
Fun day, huh?
Oh, I've got a bit of echo here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting a bit of echo here, Nathan.
You're sounding nice and clear to me now. The echo's all gone from my end.
All right, okay, that's fine. I don't know how that is. Hang on.
So that was the response to yesterday. I don't know if you've been watching, but yeah. So we point out that they've measured a part of Google Earth that's quoted at 29 feet. looks about 20, 25 at best. And that's the response. An absolute butt ton of trolling. That's the best they've got to respond to it with. Amazing, isn't it? Jem came in and said it's not about the height, it's about the position.
Yeah. Pretty bad accent from Chris there.
Yeah, fun. I didn't mind it till he started chewing on the mic.
I think Alan B should come back. I'm going to miss him. I don't think he's going to come back again. It's a shame because he was quite entertaining.
Very amusing. So, they I don't know what it is with these funny voices, and I don't know. I don't get it.
I think they're just Jimmy Brown. I think they're just jealous of his talents and want to mimic him. They probably actually what do you call it? They look up to Jamie Brown. I think he's kind of one of their favourites. So I think they just, how you tend to mimic people that you admire, I think maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to outdo Jamie Brown on the voices kind of thing.
Maybe. I mean, it is funny, but still, it's nice to see that that's the reaction to the whole 30 metre in elevation, escalation being totally debunked by them. Fun.
Well, I actually just missed. I've missed. I've just got in from work there, so I've just actually joined. I just switched on and I heard you were still going. So all right, and then I just heard them all accusing you of lying. I don't know why they keep using this word. You're a liar. I think I thought the definition was to lie would be or my definition would be to purposely, or to intend to purposely deceive or something like that. And I don't think how that's correlated with maybe being mistaken, or getting something wrong. Imagine school teachers, you got a sum wrong, you get called a liar. It's pathetic. They're just trying to attach that word, but keep repeating it. I don't think,
to be fair, I did the same.
It's a strange way in which they're using that word.
I did the same to Jem Panda, just so I've done exactly the same thing to him for exactly that reason, and just started calling him a liar. It's like, clearly you've got it wrong, Jem, and I'm going to just call you an outright liar, because as far as I'm concerned, he is disingenuous, and he has literally been out to smear people. That much I would stand by, because that's what his purpose was. He's claimed that Anthony has lied about his height. It's like Anthony has gone to Google and looked at the number it gives. That's it. So to claim he's lying, for Jem Panda to claim that Anthony is lying when all he's done is taken a value off a piece of software he's testing is just outrageous. It's so disingenuous, it's untrue. And it to me, it just says your only purpose in doing so is to smear that person, because it's a straw man. It's not true. Anthony hasn't claimed a height. Google is what's been used, and it's never been declared any other way. So there we go. That's my reasons for using his own tactics against him and calling him a liar today on this show.
Yeah, well, there's definitely an effort being made for them to use it, because they seem to use that word they use it on everybody that just says anything. That's like their favourite go-to word. If they can't think of anything else, it's like the default word to go to. They just call people liars. But I mean, that's part of the tactics. Did you see that film? Did you watch that video? The video with that interview. Did you ever get a chance to see it? The interview with Jordan Peterson.
No? I do vaguely remember you sending me the link. I can't remember if I watched it or not. If you talk about it, it might jog my memory if I have.
It was just basically it was a typical example of it was a great example of what to expect when you enter into a debate with someone that's not going to accept. Don't see it as a debate. They see it actually as a battle kind of thing. And if you watch that video, you'll see that. And the thing about it was, this was Channel 4. This was on Channel 4 News. And I remember in the old days, interviewers used to be harsh, a lot harsher than what. But this was just like a pure on attack, twisting every single thing that he said. She would say, "Oh, so you're saying this?" It was just it just reminded me of the the type of responses that we get of people that we are disagreeing with about the shape of the earth. It just that is quite really interesting, and it's what do you call it? It's an exaggerated example because that was disgusting. Basically, it was probably the worst interview I've ever seen in my life regarding that, because he's just talking about certain aspects of society at the moment, and he's become really popular. He's a clinical psychiatrist, and just I think in the last 2 years he's become popular, and he's just getting attacked by every single liberal or left wing group or whatever type that's against him, and they just make up stories, and it's just a reflection of what's happening in this discussion, but on a way larger scale. He's had his life his life threatened. He gets 2 a day or something like that, 3 a day. It just seems a strange phenomenon that there's actually people like that, and that's what I'm seeing with a lot of these ball earthers.
How you doing? We've got a new guest.
I'm doing well, thanks. Yourself?
Very well. Good to have you back.
Fantastic. You guys want to wrap up what you're saying? Go for it. I'm just gonna. I'll mention something.
I was just babbling just to pass 10 minutes on you.
Oh, fair enough. So what did you guys think of that SpaceX launch?
Shall I go? Okay, I'll answer it. Just another rocket going high up into the air. I don't know about the car. I mean, the car's quite funny. I don't. At $28,000 a kilo to get things up into space, it's a lot of money to be spent on. What's he doing, or what are they doing with the car, kind of thing? It's junk in it. They're just emptying junk.
Yeah. From what I know, the car was just basically to have weight, since it was a test flight for the apparently they used back in the old days. I don't know what they used prior to that, but they used like concrete or something to simulate the weight of something important. But they just went, bugger it, we'll just launch a car with the man in it, a tribute to what's his face, the guy who sang the song, and did its thing. And we saw after the launch, for quite a number of hours, I think it's still going actually, the cameras are still live. Not sure if they still are, but they were live after the launch. And no fisheye lens, different camera angles around the car and on the bloke's helmet or next to his helmet. And you can see him go through space towards the Mars. Then you see the Earth in the background, and it's nice and curved. And we know it's not rendered or anything because we saw the thing launch. But also, since that's live and in pretty damn good quality, the ray tracing that would be needed to simulate the light's reflection on the surface of the car and so forth would be insane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they never are up. It just looks right. I've got a problem. I don't know. I believe there's satellites up there, but it's like when I see this film from space, there's something not right about it, and I can't put my finger on it. Right, they're doing some kind of, as a friend of mine, Chris F.E. Jackson said, you're only going to see the part of the Earth that is lit. You don't. So beyond that dark patch, it could quite easily be further land, just in my opinion. But it is, as I say, it's yeah. And that bit about rendering, they can render in real time. They've got the tech for that, but I'm not saying they're doing that. I don't. I think they're definitely putting these things up there, and I can understand why people have a problem with it, because when you do watch it, they do they go from going straight up to actually the one yesterday, it was kind of it came into like horizontal, but I mean that's just so that it hits our atmosphere for some reason at the right angle to get into the parking orbit. There's a parking orbit apparently about 100 miles up, and it just seems a bit strange. You know, I think my theory is when you had that Operation Fishbowl and they fired them rockets straight up and exploded, that was actually that was them testing how to get out the atmosphere, and they realised, well, we can't go straight up. All that rubbish about, oh, we're putting it over the sea, you know, just for safety reasons. I don't buy into that. There's a reason why it is. It must be easier to get in there, because if you look at most launches, they usually head you know, across the equator, you know, in that kind of direction. But they have to go in at they have to go in at an angle. So I believe they're actually entering into something. You know, to come in at the right angle and hit that parking orbit. I don't believe it's anything to do with falling. It falls to the earth. Sorry,
well, it's all good. I know, for example, China and Russia, they don't worry about it so much because they do it out in the sticks, right? You know, there is people that have the debris from their rockets, you know, hitting, you know, their towns and so forth. But it's so out in the woods. It's unlikely that it would hit any densely populated area for that very reason. But you still got people, you know, finding the debris of, you know, the canisters and stuff that fall back to Earth and all that from their launches, China and Russia. But it is for safety reasons when they go over the water. But in this case, I think they went in somewhat of a different direction to put it into. I don't know exact details of it, but they went slightly different to park it quicker into the night side of the Earth or something like that. I was watching a video by some YouTuber. I think he worked with NASA. I don't know, but it seems like he did. Shit, I forgot his name. Some bald chap. And I was just watching the video then, and he said that that's what they were going to do for him. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, so you think we do have satellites in orbit and all that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're just not. They're not. Well, they're doing what they say, but there's a 100% ulterior motive to it. You know, it's all to do with security and stuff. People can laugh at it, but most of the satellites up there are military, and they've got military. Most satellites that go up there get military attachments put on them to do their bit as well. You know, it's written into the deal for probably, you know, for satellite companies to launch up there. They'll have a deal written in that, you know, the military can piggyback. It makes it cheaper. You know, for example, did you know that like all these rockets that, for example, Elon Musk and all these people that are building rockets and putting their experiments on and satellites and stuff like that, if that blows up, it's the American public that pays for it, because the government underwrites it. They actually insure these rockets, and it's like so that they can tempt companies to, you know, make the effort of you know, building the things. So that's a little sweetener. So they don't really lose any money. So it doesn't matter. You see a rocket go up, it's just cost the American taxpayer money. So
not sure about the money thing.
You know,
they do have. I mean,
well, what do you? Sorry. Yeah, but wait, one second. I'll just no, sorry. I just finished, because this is like a thing. That Tesla, I mean, his company. You know, if they, I don't see why the public should fund it. When a little thing hit me, in these street interviews, people don't care about space, but the amount of money, and then they really don't. The majority of people don't give a flying whatever hoot about space. It's not important to them. So I don't see if you ask people, would you rather give them this company 50 million? There's such a minority of people that would say, yeah, give away our tax money, you know, instead of giving a bit of tax relief to us. Yeah, spend it on space. I mean, it's what the people want, is to better humanity. I don't see how, if people want to go about investigating what's up there, they should pay for it themselves, and you know, the population of the world shouldn't have to pay for something that's not going to do them any good whatsoever. It's very interesting to fantasy boys and stuff like that. I used to love space and imagine what it'd be like traveling about the place. But there is a money aspect to it.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the finances, but I mean, sure, there's quite a few that have a military intelligence asset, you know, for it. Like, SpaceX a few weeks ago. I think it crashed and failed. I don't know if they recovered it, but
Hello, everybody. Alan
but
C.
they'll-
here.
Hello, Alan. How you doing?
Don't worry, Nathan. Your favourite content provider's here.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Alan.
Good to be here. Thank you for
Good to
being
have
here.
you back, mate.
I got sniped earlier.
No, okay. So what do you think about satellites, Alan?
I quite like that song by Lou Reed, Satellites of Love. Do you
Oh,
know
that's,
Lou Reed?
well, that's going back a bit, mate. You're showing your age.
Transformer album.
Good album.
Right, I haven't got that.
Great album, isn't it, Nathan?
It is. I like that album. I like that song too.
Yes. It was the B-side to Guess Which Track.
Tell me, I don't know.
Walk on the Wild Side.
Oh, cool. Which is the best Lou Reed song ever.
Not sure about that.
Well,
I
my
prefer
favourite Lou Reed song.
some of the early Velvet Underground's rather wonderful.
Sorry, who is that? Australian? Are you Australian? Are you?
Yeah, I am.
What's your name? Sorry, who do I call you? Nat or the National Security?
You just call me Nat, I suppose, or Wong.
Nat. All right. Sorry,
I was going to say before that the SpaceX a few weeks ago, a month ago, they launched one, and I think I don't know if they recovered it, the satellite, but it's from the National Reconnaissance Office. A few months prior to that, they launched one into space successfully, and NASA a few months before that, Enroll 38, I think it was. So they do put military assets in play. So that's one of the advantages of having satellites and so forth, right? It's the next level above, spy planes and all that type of thing. In the Cold War, the CIA learned the hard lesson of that U-2 spy plane that was shot down, and there's a good movie made about it actually with the actor's name. Anyway, Bridge of Spies, fantastic film. But to do that, they can launch stuff up into space, and so from there, well, if they can get into space, then they can get further and further into space because nothing's stopping them. And with cameras, live or not live, we could see the whole curvature of the Earth, like that car footage.
Yeah, but did we see the whole Earth? I watched that. I did actually watch some of it. I heard about it. Did you actually see a picture of the whole Earth?
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll go back and look at the end of that because I caught some of it.
Just type into YouTube red
road stuff.
Road stuff. Yeah.
That's the road stuff.
Live footage or something like that. I think it's still kicking.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you can see the full curvature of the Earth from different angles, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
I seen the bit they were showing the curve. I seen that bit, but I didn't see a picture of the whole, the whole Earth. And I don't know. Do you honestly say, right? See, and this is the thing that gets me when I do, because I know the satellites. I know satellites are up there. Neat. I don't know. It's confusing, but the point is, that sun, it just looks too close. I don't mean it looks too close. It looks very close, very, very close.
The sun. Sorry, did you say?
Yeah, the sun. Yeah, when you see the sun, and I mean, I've looked at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of, space footage and all that kind of stuff, and it's one thing. And the moon, if they ever catch the moon, it's always the same face that we see.
Yeah, it's a tidal rock. Yeah, so with the moon, it's a tidal rock.
Isn't it funny? But wait a minute, isn't it funny? All the photographs from the, from space, it's always got the moon, and it's always facing you exactly. And no matter where they are up when you go round it, when they pass it, they would have to pass it at the exact same perspective, angle of, because it is always. You never see a little bit past the bunny ears or whatever. You never ever see it. Well, that little bit rounded, and it spins at some point. It has to, it does spin. It's just funny how we've never caught a photograph like that.
We've caught sides of it, I'd assume, but I mean, for the most part, I mean,
that's the point.
Us in the southern hemisphere, like we see it upside down. It's a bit of a flip. But with the sun, if they use, I think it's called polar lenses, which removes like all that lens flare and stuff you see. You could even do it with clouds, and you just see this really small little dot. It looks close because of how bright the damn thing is, but you have one of those little covers or lenses over the top of it. It looks really small, really small.
Well, I've seen some film. I think it was what was his name? Jim Panda found a film. It was actual video of the Earth from a satellite, old video time. I can't remember what it's called. Something Star. I think I downloaded the video. Right, as they were looking at the Earth, you could have swore it was the sun, because it was just pure. It was just like a bright. It was it looked like the moon, because it just looked like a bright ball in the sky. You couldn't make out the land. It was as bright. It was almost as bright as the sun, if you know what I mean. So I'm wondering how, so if they're using filters to filter out the light, I don't think we're actually. I just think it's a lot different up there than it is what they're saying. Even the astronauts said that it was like they were in a black and white world. Rather, when they were outside, when they were on the moon, apparently, they said it's just like black and white, seeing black and white. There's no colour or something like that.
Has it been a good show? Nathan, has it been a good show?
Yeah, great.
Have you been arguing with people today?
It's a debate show.
Come on, talk to Uncle Alan.
Yeah, I just said it's a debate show.
Have you been kicking people? You seemed angry earlier.
No, that wasn't me that kicked you. Sorry, somebody joined and sniped you out. It wasn't me.
They're trying, Alan, they're trying to oppress your word, man. They're trying to oppress you. Your own ilk are trying to oppress you getting the word across, Alan. It's like a conspiracy.
Boys will be boys, Ali. Boys will be boys.
You're brilliant, mate.
When are you coming round to fix my garden?
Well, my passport's on the way. I finally made a mistake. I tried to be smart and said because I lost my passport, my last passport photographs, like they're 4 years old. Couldn't be bothered going to get other photographs. I used them and they spotted it after about a month. So they sent them back and said, we want up-to-date photographs. So I sent them last week. So maybe during the summer, I'll come round and sort it.
Brilliant.
You get a wee drawing. You tell me what you want done. Get a picture. Get a nice image. What you want, if you want to entertain your friends or sit about. And
what I want is I want a lawn with a weeping willow in the corner, and perhaps a tuft of trees.
Seriously, come on. Oh, sorry, I ruined your tuft of trees joke. Sorry, Alan. I thought you were just going to start literally going through gardening quotes, and you had a joke there. I'm so sorry.
No, I said I wanted some lawn, a weeping willow, a tuft of trees, and perhaps a cliff face for Anthony to stand on, and we could play Guess His Height.
How high do you want the cliff to be? 100 feet plus?
Yes. Is he 35 feet? Is he 55 feet? 100 feet?
130 feet in the air? Is he on a hang glider?
Cypress fir, get a cypress or a lilani. If you get them, they grow. I think it's something like a metre a year or a metre and a half. I think a year if you want to get quick grown.
Well,
anyway, back onto the satellites.
It's not gardening now.
The satellite. I know we're off to gardening. We'll talk about gardening in private.
Did you watch the launch last night?
I was just talking about it. Yeah, I watched. I did. I watched it, and then I found the one with the car. What do you think of the car?
Didn't do us any favors.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of people. Yeah, babe, but you know what? why, you know, have they got it in a swimming pool? You know what I mean? It's up there. You know, they've stuck it out, but, you know, but it does look rather, yeah, maybe
Do you
they're
reckon
just...
Ali, do you reckon that's Keith Moon driving? He liked to get high.
Quite possibly. Or it could be, what's his name? Ah, I forgot it.
That guy from the Libertines.
No, the no, the guy that hit the tree with the mini. Oh,
T-Rex.
Yeah, what was his name?
Mark Bolan.
Mark Bolan, that's it, dude. Yeah, maybe they kept him alive. Maybe he didn't die. I'm sure Pete Shear's got something to say
I'm
about
sure when
that.
Mark Bolan died, though, he passed his hair on to David Essen.
Yeah. So what did you think about the launch then yourself?
Without being rude, it gave me the horn.
Right, okay. Well, it does look like a big penis, right? A nice bit of, you know, a bit of male, you know, phallic symbolism going on there, because it does look like a big penis.
It looked like some amazing thrust.
Yeah,
was it 48
like
engines?
I don't know, but it's a lot of energy, yeah. I think they're working on that. I think they're actually working on or if I've read somewhere, if I'm right in hearing that, electric. They're trying to work out if they can do. I think. Do you know what I was thinking when I was looking at that guy in the car? I seen another thing there where helicopter now, a one-seater. If you have a look at it on YouTube, brilliant. It's just like a scaled-up version of a drone with six, you know, the six axis of movement and stuff like that. And I just thought they might stick one of them up into space and fly about with that.
Well, I mean, they did do one of those years ago with the Mars rover.
But what was that?
Sorry?
What was that you said there? Sorry, Nat, I missed that.
The Mars rover, a few years ago, they sent one. A few years ago it landed. And then I think it was early 2000s they sent it. I can't recall the exact details. That's still going.
Did it find any water?
Like, well, here's a question for you. Do you guys think that, you know, these planets are as far away as they say?
Yeah.
They've been triangulated.
But you need to have do you know how they determine the baseline? Tell me how they determine the baseline. You know, the baseline, if you're going to triangulate, you have to have a baseline, and it's actually helpful to have 3 points, and then you can triangulate like in a 360. You can cover an area if you've got 3 points, a 3-point baseline, an A, a B, and a C. It's easier. You can near enough triangulate. Establish any direction from them 3 points, kind of thing. You know, it's kind of accurate. But I'm wondering how they, you know, what baseline do they use? You know, if they're going to use that, whatever, trigonometry or whatever you call it.
I mean, just I wouldn't have a clue, but I mean, just heading over to NASA's website and see what they say about it. Sure, you could NASA measuring the distance. That's what this.
I know one experiment. I know one experiment that they did. Was I don't know, maybe about 100 or 200 years ago. They were, if I remember rightly, is at a certain time of the year, they decided they took a measurement of the angle of a planet or something, or a star. And then what they did was they waited 6 months till the Earth was on the other side. They took a measurement of the same star, and they used the distance from where they assumed that they were, you know, like 6 months before to where they are now, and they used that as a measurement, as the actual baseline. And when I hear things like that, to me, that's not scientific. And if you're talking about bouncing lasers off of stars, hundreds of light years or thousands of light years away. It's absurd, because that information, you know what I mean? It's going to take that long to get there, and it'll take that long to get.
Yes,
so
I mean, yeah. I don't know the exact details. I know there is one triangulation that you're talking about before. It's one of them. I'm sure they've got a plethora of methods that they've got on their website that outlines, you know, what they do and so forth. About Mars. I'm on a NASA Mars website or something.
You know, because you have to know exactly what position you're actually in, and that's a problem when you know everything's kind of moving about you.
Well, I mean, it's a problem if you don't know, but I mean, these guys obviously know. You know, that they've got the methods behind them. They know the distance, right? That's sorted. So you know, once you do a bit of research around and try and find the distances.
This is the thing, Nate. You know, I was always interested in space. You know what I mean? And I still am, but I'm in a whole other aspect of things, because I know it's up there. I know there's something up there, right? What it is, well, you know, we can only speculate or believe what they tell us it is. And if all I'm reading about satellites, moon landings, and I'm looking at it's all military organizations that are doing that kind of research and understanding the mentality, how important security is, or how high, you know, security is involved in everything, right? And then I'm thinking, well, why would they tell us what it is? It might well be a ball, but they're not telling us what space is, or it might be flat, and it might be a liquid, some kind of liquid, or some kind of substance, or
We're talking about the Earth.
No, I'm talking about outside in space.
Sounds like
well, I mean, we've got commercial satellites and so forth. I mean, when I had a subscription to IHS Janes, you know, I could interact with the satellites from that they were using with Airbus Defence and Space, right? So they had a partnership and still do actually, or use all source analysis. You know, you can put in the thing, you know, the information you want, and they'll give the coordinates, and you can zoom in, out, interact with the satellite images and so forth. And so they have commercial. That's the security side of things, but I mean, they do have commercial available, you know, for humanitarian and so forth.
Yeah, but this is the point. Yeah, the commercial side of it, they'll only be able to. They'll be restricted in actually what information they're allowed to gather and you know, make public, because then there's no point having security then, is there? So we're definitely getting spoon-fed. I mean, that's just logical that if they make a big deal about security up in space and stuff like that, they're not going to let any company go up there and just film willy-nilly and stuff like that. There'll be sensitive points on the planet that they don't want to get filmed. So, I mean, it's just sense to
Nathan,
have to adhere to protocol.
Nathan, did you see the picture I posted for you yesterday? Are you going to retract that you called me a liar? Did you see Ranty's red shoes?
Not at all. I didn't see Ranty at all. I saw some shoes, and I saw something that resembled a cliff. It didn't really.
You called me a liar, though.
Well, it's not depicting a tape running out off the reel halfway down the hill, is it?
Come on.
Sorry, did it depict a tape measure flying off the reel halfway down the hill or not?
Come on.
You seem to you're avoiding my question. So you claimed to have a picture of the tape measure running out. Is that what that picture that you posted was of?
Yeah, that's the picture.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, you feel free to just keep claiming that it is, because it isn't.
Nathan, behind you. Apologize. Come on.
You claimed you had a picture of a tape measure running out. That's not what you posted.
Whose shoes were they?
So you backed on to claiming about outfits like you did yesterday. You claimed to have a tape measure running off the reel. That's not what you posted. Now you're back on to talking about shoes. Nonsense, in other words.
Are you going to call me a worm? Ah, dead air. The uncomfortable silence. Something Nathan experienced as a boy.
I think they were CGI shoes, personally, myself. I want proof. I want the metadata.
What I want to know, though, Ali, is if Riley's girlfriend is a professional photographer, why doesn't she do the photographs? Because Ranty can't seem to get that camera in focus for love nor money.
Yeah, but I mean, he's even said that his girlfriend's not really flat earther. She's just probably, just.
I can imagine the pillow talk.
You know what I mean? But it's like, if you're not into something, Alan, you can't be talked into doing it. It's like
she's probably got one more GSE than Anthony.
I don't know. I think she does quite a.
Riley, if you can't convince the person that loves you the most, one does have to wonder about the theories that you're holding.
My friends just one of my friends, he was as I say, when I first found out about it, it was like I just laughed and I ran into my mate. I said, "Hey, by the way, Fleming," I said, "did you know the Earth is flat?" He said, "What do you mean?" I showed him. I can't remember what clip it was, or said something to him. He said, "Oh, okay," and that was him. But most of them I have had a bit of some of my friends getting angry about it. In the same kind of way that people on the internet do it as well. I had a couple of friends doing that. It's just like a natural, but it's just a strange reaction. I always find that a strange reaction.
Is that to Glasgow?
People get so angry.
People in Glasgow.
What's that?
People in Glasgow seem to get very angry.
I'm not from Glasgow. I'm from like the west of Glasgow, about 40 miles west of Glasgow.
I was on Argyle Street one night. You know it?
Yeah, I know it up in Glasgow. Yeah.
I saw a guy weighing on a door. And then he took out his keys and let himself in.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.